I want to share a series of simple tips that I wish I had understood when I was 19 years old and starting my 20s with the least number of failures I have had. I know that life is about making mistakes and learning from them, but it's important to always be informed about the decisions that will have a big impact on most of our lives. Hi, my name is Alexis, and welcome to my channel Making Value Before Money. Here we go. Let's get started. Tip number 1: have a professional and financial backup. I want to emphasize that by the time you reach your 30s, you should always have a professional and financial safety net. It's crucial to never be at zero, neither in terms of knowledge nor in savings. My first tip is to have savings that can cover your expenses, at least the most basic ones, and ensure those savings can last you for a minimum of 6 months to 1 year, only to be used when absolutely necessary. No matter your salary you earn, always try to save and have a personal fund. If you invest it for annual returns, that's fine, so that your money grows. But be very careful. Don't trust just any bank. Keep your savings in the safest bank or savings account possible, preferably with solid financial stability, because if that bank goes under, your savings could vanish. While you're saving, try to cultivate one or more professional skills that can enhance your career. If possible, aim for skills that will allow you to work for yourself. That's even better. However, if not, at least make sure they are in demand skills so you can always find a higher paying job. And don't forget that these skills should align with what you know and enjoy doing. I won't give you any entrepreneurship advice because I'm not an entrepreneur and never have been. I only have theoretical knowledge, but I'm in the process of becoming one myself. Tip number 2: prioritize your health. Always prioritize your health. I won't give specific advice, as that's up to each of us to decide what to eat and what not to eat. But try to maintain your health at the most optimal levels possible. I know it might be difficult to have a completely stress-free life nowadays, and you may have to eat unhealthy food sometimes due to lack of time. But try to make at least 50% of your weekly meals as healthy as possible. Tip number 3: go to university if necessary, and always being a self-taught person. If you need to attend the university because the career you want requires a legal license, go to university. Don't waste your time. If you can't go to university due to lack of resources, still study on your own. Being self-taught will always be the most powerful habit and resource you can have. There's no excuse. Research the subjects needed for the profession you want to pursue and try to advance your knowledge. And if you have to study at university while working at a job, that's fine. Do it. But always advance your knowledge on your own so that you can always meet the academic demands despite your busy personal life. Personally, I had a strong desire to become a doctor, and for a while, I diligently studied an anatomy book almost entirely. The idea was to cover 3 or 4 of the most challenging subjects that every medical student must study during their first 2 years of university. My plan was to work and study during the first 2 or 3 years, but I never decided to face that challenge. I had a job that would allow me to have more free time to go to university, and I even planned to rent an apartment near the university to have the opportunity to rest, but I never decided to study the degree. Personally, I don't like being under a lot of pressure. I can't tolerate it. I like to work hard, but being under a lot of pressure without sleeping properly for a long time, I feel like I will explode. I was studying a career very similar to medicine. It was clinical chemistry and biology, a career that involves being in a clinical laboratory using a microscope, running clinical tests, and so on. It was a career that I really enjoyed, but unfortunately I didn't continue it. But I won't go into details now. I'll talk about it sometime. Tip number 4. Never risk money you can afford to lose on dubious investments. And don't buy ridiculously expensive, useless courses. I'm going to reiterate what I said before. Save. Be self-taught all the time. And take care of your health. Now, reinforcing this, I want you to be very aware that there are many pseudo-entrepreneurs on the internet who only want to sell you overpriced courses. After a while, this knowledge will no longer be valuable. We've seen this with dropshipping, cryptocurrency trading, NFTs, and now they're jumping on artificial intelligence. I'm not saying it's wrong to make a living selling courses. I personally want to do something like that, and I say this with the utmost humility and honesty. But I will never abuse ridiculously high prices to promise the starts. No course will give you the knowledge for financial freedom. I insist, no course will do it. There will be courses whose prices are justified, but never spend money that takes weeks to earn and that, in the end, will be just another course from the pile. Buy books. They are never expensive. If they are digital books, I've always found them to be cheaper. But also check that those books really add value and aren't just more of the same, where the authors are merely publishing knowledge they don't even apply in their own lives. Invest in knowledge, but do it responsibly and prudently. Forget about investments. If you're like me, just a regular company employee, never risk money you can afford to lose. I lost almost $1,500 in an investment fund for a cryptocurrency game called Axie Infinity. I financed this investment with a bank loan, which I paid off over 2 years. In the end, I paid almost $2,500 in interest and loan taxes. One of the worst financial decisions I ever made. I also bought some courses that honestly weren't worth buying. I started a business selling screen printed t-shirts. I spent almost $2,000 on it, and it could have been a business that would have allowed me to earn a minimally fair salary. While it wouldn't have been very profitable, earning $500, the average monthly salary paid here in Mexico, by working for a company far from my home with a 48-hour work week, legal work hours, and only one day off. Honestly, it would have been more worthwhile to continue that business, learn graphic design and screen printing, and work for myself. I would probably be self-employed today instead of being just another employee working for a company I hate. Tip number 5. Always cultivate a valuable asset with monetization potential. I am not here to tell you to be your own boss and hate jobs, to be an entrepreneur, and all the other advice that everyone repeats endlessly on the internet. I'm talking about always having a plan B. First and foremost, savings. And at the same time, valuable knowledge or assets that can sustain you at all times. For example, while you're working, during your free time, you could cultivate a social media account or a simple website, posting frequent content that results in followers and high traffic. Even if you don't make money, it's better to have a valuable asset with monetization potential than to have nothing. So when you want or need it, you can easily find ways to monetize it and earn a salary. Most of us probably already know that we can make a living through internet businesses, but we aren't consistent. I don't want to touch on that boring topic that everyone keeps repeating. You don't perceive it enough. It's this and that. Blah blah blah. Just don't listen to everything people say online, especially from people who sell courses all the time at ridiculously prices. With that, I'm saying all. Don't buy knowledge at a price that costs you weeks of salary. End of story. Let's be entrepreneurs, but only at the cost of time. Obviously, let's be reasonable. We shouldn't spend years starting businesses just to never take the first step. We can talk about that later. I won't give businesses advice because I'm not a businessman or a business expert. But as I once saw in an interview with the author MJ DeMarco, creating a fortune doesn't have to cost a fortune. Tip number 6. The debt is parasitic. Use them when it is strictly necessary. And I have another piece of advice. Don't take on debts that you won't be able to pay back. Don't ruin your credit history. Until today, I have a good credit history, but because of my debts, I can't quit my job that I honestly don't like, because I have to pay those debts, or I'll be in trouble. If you're going to buy something with debt, make sure it will give you a positive return on investment. And if so, go ahead. For example, if having a car will mean 5 years of payments, but you need it because public transport is slow and inefficient, a common situation here in Mexico, and you can afford it because your salary allows it, your job is for a highly recognized company, and besides, you really enjoy your job, then go ahead, take on the debt, and be responsible with your payments. If you can pay off the entire debt in less time, even better. Conclusion. So, in conclusion, be responsible with your finances. Always save. Take care of your health. Cultivate your knowledge. Don't get into unnecessary debt and aim to be an entrepreneur. But Be an entrepreneur without spending a fortune. Only spend what's necessary and what you're willing to lose. And make sure your venture is thoroughly researched to reduce the chance of failure when you face the market. Thank you.